Hello, this is Keith, welcoming you to the 2076th edition of the Enfield Talking newspaper, Dateline the 1st of December 2016. The readers this week are Janet, Sally and Keith, with Robin on the controls. The editor was Janet and the production and distribution team is Ali and Alan. Our title music is Country Rock Polka, comprised by Pat Prilly, Ferdinand Bouillon and Harry Breur, and performed by Jean-Jacques Perry, and it's used with his kind permission. The local stories that we will be reading come from our local newspapers, the Enfield Gazette and Advertiser and the Enfield Independent, and are their copyright. The events information has been collated by us from other sources. The local news headlines this week include Schoolboy Saved by Quick Thinking GPs and Lucky to Be Alive. First, the sunrise and sunset times for tomorrow, December the 2nd. Sunrise 7:46. Sunset 15:54. Now, we thought you would be pleased to hear that we held a collection for Enfield Talking newspaper on Saturday the 26th of November in Palace Gardens, and we raised £75. We'd like to thank the people of Enfield who contributed. Do get in touch with us to share your own news and special announcements. We love to hear from you. If you have any comments about the Enfield Talking newspaper, please phone Diane de Jersey on 020 8805 6578. She's your listener's representative and she will be pleased to help you. I'll give you that number again. It's 020 8805 6578. Now Janet will read the first item of local news.
Doctors who saved a schoolboy's life after they had no hope for him want to stress the importance of resuscitation. Staff at Bincott Road Surgery in Bincott Road, Enfield, treated the boy after he was rushed into the surgery on Tuesday, November the 22nd. The boy, who has not yet been named, is a pupil at Merry Hills Primary School, which is just around the corner from the surgery. He fell and hit his head as he walked home from school. An adult he was with was quick thinking and carried him into the surgery. One of the GPs, Dr. Mark Disamaki, recalled, "We brought him into one of our treatment rooms and my team and I started resuscitating him, but he did not respond. We shocked him 3 times, but there was still no response. We had no hope for him initially, and I was not feeling very positive because he was not responding, but then he started to breathe. Although an ambulance was dispatched, it was unable to reach the surgery due to heavy traffic in the area, so the London Air Ambulance was called. The helicopter arrived and the advanced trauma team treated the boy before he was transferred to the Royal London Hospital in Whitechapel. The doctor said he was relieved that when the consultant at the hospital rang him later to tell him that the boy, who had bruising to his head, was doing well and praised his team for their efforts. He said the paramedics did so much to save the boy. They are the real heroes here. It's a tragedy that can be avoided, and that's why first aid is so important. The doctor from the Royal London Hospital called me that evening to say that we and the paramedics had done a good job with resuscitating him and that it had helped to prevent brain damage. They said what we did was really effective and the child was now talking and responding normally. We did what we had to do, and I want to stress the importance of resuscitation and educating people about it. It was such an emotional event for all of us here. But to do this job is so important. He added, if someone stops breathing and you don't know how to perform CPR, call 99 straight away and they will talk you through it.
Lucky to be alive. Horrific Sunday morning traffic accident leaves pair hospitalised. The shocked family of a teenager and her grandma, who were badly injured as they crossed the road in Enfield town, have spoken of their gratitude to everyone who has offered help and support. Enfield's annual Parade of Light, which was due to pass the scene of the accident that evening, had to be rerouted. The accident occurred when Romaine Silver, aged 15, and her grandma, Shirley Pinder, aged 74, were involved in a collision with an HGV in Church Street just after 10 a.m. The two had gone shopping, as they often did, when the horror unfolded at the crossing between Waterstones and Claire's Accessories, surrounded by scores of witnesses. The road was closed for most of the day as emergency services cut them from the wreckage and gathered evidence at the scene. Shirley's son and Romain's uncle, Ian Pinder, was at home in Russell Avenue, Wood Green, with his father, Carlo, when the police broke the news. Mr. Pinder said, "It was like a film. The police rang the doorbell, told us to sit down, and said they had some bad news. Then they drove us to the Royal London Hospital in Whitechapel with the lights flashing, and we saw Mum and Romain. My mum has been slipping in and out of consciousness. It's been a huge shock. Romain has a huge gouge on her thigh where the lorry ran over her and has had to have a skin graft. She's also got a broken collarbone. It'll take a long time to heal, but it could have been worse. Romain, a pupil at St Michael's Catholic Grammar School in North Finchley, lives in the Fairway, Palmer's Green. Her brother Callum was due to return to university that day, but stayed at home to support his mum, Gillian Silver. A London Ambulance Service spokesman said, "We were called at 10:21 to Church Street in Enfield. 2 females were struck by a lorry and taken to hospital. Their injuries are not believed to be life-threatening, but the older lady is more serious than the other girls." Mr. Pinder added, "People have been so kind, seeing if we need anything, and sending well wishes to them both. My mum is the kindest, most caring woman you could ever meet. If she had her last penny in her pocket, she would give it to someone else. She's got a broken collarbone, shattered pelvis, and 10 broken ribs. She was having problems breathing. She's going to be okay, but it'll be a long road to recovery." The Parade of Light traditionally leaves the Civic Centre in Silver Street at 4 p.m, marches along Baker Street and Lancaster Road, turns left into Chase Side, past the War Memorial, and finishes outside the George pub, but it had to be diverted to avoid the site of the accident. A police spokeswoman said, "The driver of the lorry stopped at the scene and is assisting police with their investigation. The road was reopened at about 16:50. No arrests have been made and inquiries are ongoing."
A plan to sell a historic town hall to an Asian company is a shameful handover of the family silver. Hornsey Town Hall, a Grade 2 listed building, has been sold off to the Far East Consortium for £27 million by Haringey Council. The group says it will replace the ageing building so it's removed from the Heritage at Risk register, create a boutique hotel with 2 restaurants and build 120 homes, only 4 affordable. Campaigner Gina Harkill said, "The town hall is off to join other grand historic buildings in the Cayman Islands, owned by the top 1%. It's a shameful handover of the family silver and against the wishes of thousands of local people. The value of the flats is estimated at £100 million, and the Arts Centre and Boutique Hotel is costing the developer £27 million, with the hotel providing ongoing profit. This represents a very poor deal for local council taxpayers in return for no special housing and only 4 so-called affordable flats. At a time when low-cost housing is so desperately needed, this decision is financially inexplicable and incomprehensible. Alarm bells are falling on deaf ears." David Winskill, who is part of the Hornsey Town Hall Appreciation Society, said the group is disappointed but not surprised. The small businesses which currently trade from the hall will be kicked out, and the future of a number of events hang in the balance. Mr. Winskill, 60, also expressed concern over vague plans to provide a new arts centre. But the Far East Consortium says it will partner with Copeland Estates and has vowed to appoint an arts centre operator, with discussions taking place with ANA Arts Projects. The 2 groups will set up a steering group when the refurbished town hall building opens which will include councillors and residents. Councillor Alan Strickland, Haringey Cabinet Member for Regeneration, said, "I'm delighted that after more than 10 years of work, we have secured a clear plan to bring the Town Hall back to life and save it for future generations. This £27 million investment will bring an exciting mix of an arts centre, new homes, a hotel and restaurants, alongside a revamped square. Hornsey Town Hall will finally get the investment it needs to take it off Historic England's Heritage at Risk register."
We have some tips now for budgeting for the family festivities. Save yourselves the pain of an empty wallet or purse come January. Here are some tips to help you budget for the season of overspending. You'll tend to find Christmassy experiences go down a lot better with children too, rather than forking out for overpriced gifts. Get crafty, make your own Christmas cards, decorations and treats. As well as keeping your little ones entertained, they'll enjoy the hands-on experience. Snowflakes and paper chains are simple decorations to create on a budget, and ginger shortbread is an easy, festive treat to bake. If your child has been to see Santa, type up a follow-up letter to keep the Christmas magic alive. It's essentially free, and it will help your children enjoy Christmas that little bit more. Also, most Santa's Grotto give out gifts with the visit, so your child will be happy with just the letter, having already received a present. Make a list and check it twice. Something as simple as writing a list or two, one for food, one for presents, will help you stay on budget and adjust finances ready for the season of spending. Next year, buy early, pick up your wrapping paper and packs of cards in January, when all these items go on sale. You might even be able to pick these up for less than £1. Festive food. Buy slowly, stock up early on tins and non-perishables, and keep them ready in a Christmas-only cupboard. This will help spread the costs over a few pay packets. Buy your Christmas dinner veg from the market a day or two beforehand, as markets sometimes tend to be cheaper than stores. Another tip, if you're really trying to save and don't care much for tradition, it's to have a chicken instead of a turkey. It's cheaper, and most people prefer it anyway.
Teenager honoured for disabled sports. An autistic teenager has been honoured for helping disabled young people to get into sport. Shane Gunesh, who goes to Westley School in Enfield, was given the Jack Petchey Foundation Young Leader of the Year Award by charity Panthalon. Ambassador Liz Johnson, a 3-time gold medalist who has cerebral palsy, presented the 17-year-old with his prize at the Olympic Suite in Stratford. Shane said, "My teacher told me I was a good leader. I like to volunteer for young people." The teenager transferred to Westley when he was 14 and immediately got involved with Panthalon. Despite being shy and lacking in confidence, he was chosen to play for the school in competitions before becoming a leader. He then joined the Enfield Leadership Academy, where he was given the Boccia Young Officials Award and helped to man the London Lords Taverners Disability Boccia tournament for 2 years. The student's life was transformed when he became an ambassador for the Autistic Society, helping other young people in his shoes. Father Rajiv said he was pleased his son had found activities he enjoyed and was good at. Swimmer Liz Johnson said, "What makes Panthalon different from the Come and Have Go programs is the competitive environment it offers. Competitors learn a lot from having something at stake, and the teamwork also helps conquer the fear. A day like today is heartwarming, and it is so important that these award winners are role models to those who follow them." Matthew Key, also from Westley School, Enfield, received the runner-up prize for the Sporting Achievement Award.
Blooming Cheek. Christine is left heartbroken as flower bed is bulldozed to make way for Cycle Enfield. Everything is distinctly not rosy for a green-fingered duo, after it was decided to drive a cycle lane right through their prized flower bed. Christine Williams and her daughter Lizzie re-landscaped and replanted a stunning flower bed 19 years ago in memory of Nan, who used to sit on a bench at the corner of Village Road and Park Avenue, Bush Hill Park. Now it's been completely destroyed to make way for the Cycle Enfield scheme, a network of cycle paths running through the borough. Mrs. Williams of Private Road is secretary of Enfield in Bloom and is one of scores of volunteers who keep the borough's blooms looking beautiful. She said, "We are heartbroken that our beautiful bed has been completely demolished. It seems madness that Enfield in Bloom was not advised long ago of beds in the firing line. How many more will go because of the dreaded cycle lanes, and at what cost? The huge amount of work my daughter and I put in now counts for nothing. A great many residents will be jolly cross to see that bed go. It's much appreciated in the area as people stop to chat and comment while we work on it." Mrs. Williams begged workmen to down tools while she rescued some of the flora, which they did. She added, "To their credit, the men working on the road did stop and help me to lift out the shrubs and flowers, but sadly the topsoil could not be saved." An Enfield Council spokesman said it was aware of the incident and was investigating. And we've had a letter regarding this item from Dennis Stacey of Wellington Road. "Thanks for all the hard work. The delightful raised flower bed opposite St Stephen's Church at the Park Avenue junction is no more, demolished to make way for Cycle Enfield. What a shame. Christine Williams and her family maintained the bed for years at their own cost. Through your column, may I thank them for all their public-spirited commitment to the borough."
Church volunteers stage a dry run for night shelter. Volunteers and parishioners bedded down behind the pews and fell asleep under the vaulted ceilings of a Southgate church in preparation for a winter night shelter scheme. Christ Church in the Green is one of 7 churches in the borough participating in the scheme to provide food and shelter for homeless people for 13 weeks in a rotation system. The church will be the first to open its doors from January the 4th to the 12th. Rough sleepers desperate for a home-cooked meal and a warm bed and breakfast. One of the church wardens, our own Phillip Dawson, was at the trial run. He said, "Some of us helped last year at our daughter church in St Andrews in Southgate, but this is the first time we're doing it here. We blew up the beds, laid the table, had a meal, and then went to sleep, with one of us always awake through the night on shifts, just like it will be with the real thing. It was good to get the feel of it all and see, in a very practical way, what we still need to do, and to get used to the noises in the church. It's very creaky in here." They have been concerned about the lack of washing facilities, but the trustees at the Walker Ground opposite the church have agreed to the guests showering there in the mornings. Mr Dawson added, "It's what they call low risk. The people who will be taking part in the scheme will not be drug or alcohol dependent. Many of them will have jobs, but will be homeless and sofa surfing to survive. We're looking forward to it. As Christians, it feels like a very real way of helping others. Volunteers set up the beds, do the laundry, cook and spend time with the guests, and more of them are needed for the night shelter. To volunteer, leave a message for Sandra Anderson via the church office on 020 886 0384.
Flames are still there for retiring siblings. Sisters who became firefighters on the same day have retired a week apart after a tough but rewarding 30 years. Karen and Jackie Lesurf started working for London Fire Brigade in March 1984. When Karen and Jackie joined the service, aged 20 and 18, there were only 6 women fighters in the capital. 3 decades on, having both risen to the rank of crew manager, the sisters say they have no regrets about signing up for the male-dominated profession. Jackie, aged 50, said, "Working alongside men had its ups and downs, and I have always felt I had to work twice as hard to prove I was as good as the men, if not better. Some of the men would treat me like their daughter and would try to protect me. This didn't go down well with other men, and some of them didn't like there being a woman in the station. There were hostilities from their wives and girlfriends as well. But I think attitudes towards women firefighters have changed a bit now. After 16 weeks of training, the women were sent to different fire stations. Karen was assigned to Tottenham Fire Station before moving to Edmonton, Chingford and then to Walthamstow Station. Jackie was initially sent to East Ham Station, but ended up working at Chingford and Walthamstow stations in the years that followed. While Jackie helped to rescue a man trapped in a sewer in 1994, Karen, aged 52, and her team tackled fires during the Tottenham riots in 2011. But although her job was tough, Karen, a mother of two, said raising her daughters, aged 11 and 15, is a much more challenging task. She said, "I served with some truly incredible firefighters, and it is still the best job in the world."
Specialist College rated good by Ofsted's team. A college which teaches youngsters with severe learning difficulties has been graded good by Ofsted. John Dewey Independent Specialist College in Wood Green was given the second highest rating by inspectors. The college, which has been open since 2013, provides opportunities for young people with very severe learning difficulties to develop personal and employability skills. Chairman of Governors Dr. Matthew Griffiths and Principal Nikki Quarterman said, "Our staff and students have worked hard to create a thriving learning environment despite the challenges of our non-traditional accommodation. We're very pleased Ofsted have recognised our continuous emphasis on developing skills that lead to independence." Alongside the college, Area 51 Education also delivers a range of services to young adults with severe learning difficulties from across North London.
Cockfosters stun the runaway leaders. Cockfosters upset the odds to secure a stunning 3-1 victory at runaway Spartan Premier Division leaders London Coney. Even though they were lying fourth in the table, Cockfosters began as clear underdogs against a side who had won 15 of their 17 league matches, and who went into the match 11 points clear at the top. However, the Reds defied expectations with an outstanding display, which saw them deservedly triumph courtesy of goals from Ben Hart, Jonas Valkus and Bobby Sears, a win which was all the more remarkable given that they played for more than half the match with just 10 men, following Cameron's Curry's sending off for handling on the line. "It was a famous win," said manager Dean Barker. "We started the game fantastically well and were 2-0 up and comfortable when we had a player sent off. They scored the penalty and put us under pressure for the rest of the first half, but we regrouped at half-time and got a third goal. They got their second with about 10 minutes to go, and we were defending for our lives after that. Injury time felt like it lasted an hour, and I was delighted to hear the final whistle. I thought we deserved the win. Our aim is to compete with the best teams in this league, and we've certainly done that. The whole team was fantastic, but George Ireton deserves special praise. He came back to us in the summer and has quite a few injuries since then, but he's been back to his best in the last couple of games. It was his birthday on Saturday, and I thought he had a great game." Cockfosters will hope to build on their win when they entertain Leverstock Green, and Barker is looking for his side to maintain a similar level of performance. "I've watched Leverstock a few times, and they're a good team," he added. "We beat them early in the season, but they've made a couple of excellent signings recently, and it will be a difficult match. We need to make sure we keep up the same level of performance. The players can't think that they've only just got to turn up and win because they've beaten the leaders."
Little things can have a big impact. Trust collects award for commitment to staff. An NHS trust, which covers Enfield, has been recognised for efforts in keeping its workforce happy and healthy. Barnet, Enfield and Haringey Mental Health Trust received the Mayor of London's Healthy Workplace Award at a ceremony at City Hall in London. The accolade acknowledges employers who recognise the way a healthy work environment can improve staff productivity. The Trust has provided its staff with a well-being forum on which they can share their own ideas on how to improve the workplace. An employee assistance programme has also been created for staff to gain access to free advice on social, financial, health and domestic issues. Mark Vaughan, the Trust's Executive Director of Workforce, said he was delighted that the dedication to improving the staff's physical and mental health had been recognised. There is a lot of research which shows well-being initiatives can prevent absenteeism and improve productivity, which has a direct impact on patient care, he said. As a trust, we are committed to ensuring staff feel fully supported to do their job to the best of their ability. There are also Dignity at Work advisors from the Trust on hand to provide additional support to health professionals who need to talk through problems they experience. The little things can make a big impact, said Andrew Scott-Lee, chairman of the Staff Wellbeing Forum. I know managers are also encouraging people to take breaks away from their desk instead of dining al desco, promoting healthy eating, and some teams have a well-being hour.
Mums won't give up fight for baby clinic. A group of mothers has promised they will never give up their fight to get a baby clinic at their local health centre. East Barnet Health Centre shut down in June 2014 for refurbishment and reopened without its long-lived mother and baby clinic, which was run by NHS health visitors on the site for 20 years. Charlotte Gosling, who took her 4-year-old son Jaden to the clinic when he was younger, has started an online petition to the NHS asking for the centre to reopen a clinic, which has almost 300 signatures. She said, "The clinic was a vital part of the early stages for so many parents with young babies. We need the NHS to know we will never give up the fight to restore a clinic in East Barnet. Since the closure, families have had to take their newborn babies to a clinic in High Barnet." Anna Weldon, a retired health visitor who worked in East Barnet, said, "Not having this clinic in East Barnet means a lot of services which were once centralised have been dispersed around the borough. It's been more than a year now. The NHS needs to put their socks up and figure out how to get the clinic back. We have mothers in need." The NHS Central London Community Healthcare Trust said the delayed restoration is due to problems with lease arrangements. The Divisional Director for Children's Services at the Trust, Janet Lewis, said, "We have every intention of reopening the baby clinic at East Barnet Health Centre as soon as we can. We're discussing with Barnet Clinical Commissioning Group and NHS Property Services how we can get the leasing arrangements approved in line with national policy so that we can move services back into the centre."
Tube train delays loom as drivers stage a 24-hour strike. Commuters and other underground passengers are facing delays on their journeys after a 24-hour strike affecting Piccadilly line services were announced by the RMT union. The trade union confirmed that 400 drivers will stage a walkout at 9:30 on Friday, on December the 6th, with services not resuming until 9:29 the following day. That's Tuesday, December the 6th. The strike will affect services to and from Cockfosters through Oakwood, Southgate, Arnos Grove and Bounds Green stations. The RMT said the dispute was over a range of issues, including concerns about training, including the signals passed at driver policy. The union also objected to a decision that other rail staff would have the final say on the serviceability and safety of a train, rather than the drivers. Hammersmith and City Line staff will also strike on the same day. RMT General Secretary Mick Cash said, "Safety is again a major procedure and is tied in with the ripping up of policies and procedures and ignoring warnings from staff. Our members have been left exposed and vulnerable, and we have no choice to blow the whistle before damage is done." He said, "We urge the RMT leadership to work with us constructively on the issues it has raised, rather than disrupt our customers with strikes. The announcement of strike dates is premature, given that we have talks planned at ACAS to discuss the RMT's concern on the Piccadilly line and on Hammersmith and City lines. We are waiting for the RMT's response to our proposals to end that dispute." London Underground said that 168 out of 408 Piccadilly line drivers have voted to strike.
Fair's fair for Christmas shoppers. Shoppers helped farmers get a better deal as they snapped up fair trade food and flowers at a fair in Enfield. Edible goodies, Christmas cards and colourful bouquets were on sale at the event organised by the Roman Catholic parish of Mount Carmel and St George, celebrating the fair trade status awarded to the parish by the Fair Trade Foundation. People had the chance to learn more about fair trade products, whereby farmers are paid a decent price for their produce. They could also buy some delicious cakes and store cupboard essentials. The stalls were from aid agency, the CAFOD, that's the Catholic Agency for Overseas Development Charity, Enfield Green Christians, Tradecraft, Oxfam, and Pax Christ at the fair at the parish centre in London Road, Enfield Town. Catholic Enfield and Justice and Peace Enfield also helped to organise the event. Volunteer Bina George cooked up a storm using all fair trade ingredients to make cakes to sell at the fair. She also made bouquets using fair trade flowers, and members of the church's confirmation class helped to sell them. Enfield's CAFOD representative, Tony Sheen, who is based at the Volunteer Centre in Bramley Road, Oakwood, said she raised nearly £100 for the charity, which works in 30 developing countries and helps people in their everyday lives as well as tackling emergencies. Fair trade is such an important initiative, and this parish is one of the many in the Westminster Diocese which has attained fair trade status. Now more than 500 Catholic parishes across England and Wales have been certified fair trade parishes. It is through events like this that we can raise awareness and support locally to help farmers across the world. Mr. Sheen said that parishioners had the chance to learn about how their shopping could help producers in the developing world. Buying fair trade is an important way of ensuring that no exploitation has taken place in its production and ensuring that farmers get a fair price for their goods, he added.
Rugby news now, as Billy Vunipola injury setback hits Saracens. Saracens have suffered a major setback with the confirmation that key forward Billy Vunipola will be out for at least 3 months with a knee ligament injury. The number 8, a nominee for the World Player of the Year award, tore cartilage in his knee during England's win against Argentina and has already undergone surgery. Vunipola will not only miss Sarri's forthcoming Aviva Premiership matches and the remainder of the pool stages of the European Champions Cup, but he is also likely to be not fit in time to feature for England in the Six Nations, which begins in early February. Saracens were, however, able to overcome the absence of their international stars as they edged to a 24-20 victory at home to Gloucester in the Premiership. The hosts fell behind to a Ben Morgan try after only 62 seconds and trailed for most of the first half, but despite being well below their best, they managed to do just enough to win the game and moved 4 points clear at the top of the table. Brad Barrett and Mike Ellery scored tries for Saracens, with the rest of the points coming from the boot of Alex Lazowski. It was a game that could have gone either way, said Director of Rugby Mark McCall. At this time of the year, these kind of games are just about getting the result, and we were fortunate enough to do that. None of it was perfect, far from it, but I did think we showed resilience at crucial times to bounce back from conceding a couple of pretty poor tries, and then we did just enough in the second half to eke our way over the line.
Don't give criminals your presents. It is unfortunately painful to point out that criminals don't take a Christmas break, other than to break into your home. There's a noticeable spike in reported burglaries during Christmas and the New Year. Homes full of presents, goodies and drink are a tempting target, so be aware this Christmas that while you and your family might be wishing peace on earth and goodwill to all mankind, there will be people who see your home as more akin to a turkey ready to be plucked and stuffed. Even on Christmas Day, especially on Christmas Day, when many homes are left empty as families go visiting relatives, the last thing you want to do is return, having been delivering gifts to those close to you, to find you've been burgled. Hide presents. Make sure presents are not visible and are hidden away. Look lived in. Buy timers that will turn lights on automatically. Look out for each other. Be a good neighbour and watch out for suspicious behaviour and ask a neighbour to keep an eye on your home. Check your locks. Are they up to the job? Seek advice from your local crime prevention officer. Take note. Don't leave notes for couriers saying no one's in. Make sure you've sent instructions about where to leave parcels if you're out. Hide packaging. Make sure a potential thief has no knowledge of the gifts you have bought by getting rid of the packaging properly. Rip it all up and bag it and bin it. Open windows. Decorating the outside of your home for Christmas is as popular as ever. Burglars prefer to enter through unlocked doors or windows, so an electricity extension cord running through an open window to exterior Christmas lights can be an open invitation. Hire an electrician to install an inexpensive exterior outlight for festive outdoor lights.
Traders dismay as plug is pulled on festive lights. Traders in Palmer's Green have slammed local authority chiefs for the dwindling number of lights at the annual Christmas turn-on. Cash-strapped Enfield Council funded the Christmas tree at the Triangle, but for the first time in 20 years did not pay out for festive streetlights along Green Lanes. Costas Georgiou, chairman of the Green Lanes Business Association, was joined by fellow committee and association members, the Mayor of Enfield, Bernadette Lepage, and Enfield Southgate MP David Burrows at the Yuletide party as scores of people lined the streets. But Mr. Georgiou said that the event was marred by the lack of investment. He said the evening was lovely and the turnout was impressive, but the only downside was that many people were saying, "Where are the lights along the high street?" I think it's terrible that we only received a Christmas tree this year. The council told us that given the amount of funding going towards Cycle Enfield, there was not enough money in the pot to fund the Christmas lights that Palmer's Green Town Centre has always had. Council chiefs strongly denied that the cut in funding was anything to do with the cycle lane scheme. The council's cabinet member for economic regeneration and business, Alan Sitkin, said the cycle scheme is being entirely funded by Transport for London, not the council. Unfortunately, due to cuts from the government, we have had to scale down our lights this year. We would repeat the call that we issued earlier, asking for businesses to cooperate with the council to help fund the lights so we can make them as good as possible. There was carol singing by the choirs from Hazelwood School in Hazelwood Lane, Palmer's Green, and St John the Evangelist Church in Bourne Hill, Palmers Green. Balloons were handed out to children and mince pies and coffee were handed out courtesy of the Green Lanes Business Association and the Ruth Winston Community Centre for over 50s in Green Lanes.
Here's a letter from Lucy Maggs of Smart Energy GB in response to the Advertiser's article about smart meters on November the 23rd. New generation of energy meters are free, economical and safe. Smart meters are the new generation of gas and electricity meters being offered to everyone at no extra cost during the national rollout. Water meters are not part of the rollout of smart meters. Smart meters are replacing the traditional meters in homes. They show gas and electricity use in pounds and pence and in near real time on a handy in-home display. They mean an end to estimated bills and manual meter readings, and for prepayment customers, they provide new ways to top up on the go and easy ways to check credit. Security has been at the heart of Britain's smart meter rollout since the very beginning. The smart meter system has been developed by some of the most respected experts in cyber security, including the government security organisation GCHQ. Smart Energy GB is the voice of Britain's smart meter rollout. If you'd like more information, visit smartenergygb.org, and GB is in capital letters. So it's smartenergygb.org.
John braves the cold to boost the homeless charity. A primary school mentor is swapping his duvet for a blanket to sleep rough and to raise cash to help keep homeless Londoners off the streets over Christmas. John Gilbert, 63, will brave the cold on a bench outside Enfield Town Library in Church Street and will give donations to the homeless charity Centrepoint. Hundreds of teachers and children, together with their families, are expected to turn out in support of Candle Night. Every 50 candles, at £1 a time, sold will keep a homeless person off the streets for 2 days over Christmas as part of a care package offered by Centrepoint. It will provide a warm bed in a hostel, a dentist, a chiropodist, and a doctor's appointment, as well as a Christmas dinner. John, who works as a mentor for public speaking, drama and philosophy at Honeylands Primary School in Lovell Road, Enfield, and Worcester's Primary School in Goat Lane, Enfield, is hoping to open children's eyes to the increase in homeless Londoners. Primary school children are the next generation of carers and givers, and this will give them hands-on experience of what the harsh reality is for so many homeless people. Even if children, adults and teachers sit on the bench for a few minutes in the cold, they go back to their warm beds and appreciate what they have. Every hour that John sleeps rough, a candle will be lit to represent a homeless person sleeping on the streets. He aims to raise awareness to residents of all ages who take for granted the luxury of having a safe and warm home. He added, people in our city can be smug, but they don't have a clue about homeless people, and it's everyone's responsibility.
This is a letter from Keith Bilton. Academy's preferred site is Greenbelt Land. I'm writing in relation to the front page article, No Site for School Yet, Advertiser, November the 16th. Councillor Nick Dines states that Councillor Aoife Orhan is letting down parents by not communicating with the Wren Academy over the failure to secure a site for their new school to accommodate the places needed by 2018. It is, as correctly pointed out by Miss Orhan, not the responsibility of Enfield Council to identify and procure the land, but that of the Education Funding Authority in conjunction with the Wren Academy. The involvement of the council comes at a later planning stage. The Wren Academy website currently states that the school will be open to accommodate 240 Year 7 pupils by 2018, with a fully operational school with 8 forms of entry operating by 2024. This was to be achieved, I believe, from what we were told at Wren and Fairview Homes Open Days, by operating the school initially from temporary accommodation. If this is still the case, tell us. Wren Academy is quoted in your paper as saying its favoured spot is the open space in Enfield Road, and the article continues with, but to date neither the location nor selection criteria has been confirmed, leaving parents in the dark. For clarification, this open space in Enfield Road is in fact valuable greenbelt land and an area of local special character. It is an area rich in habitat for wildlife and biodiversity, and an important wildlife link between Trent Park and Boxers Lake. I and thousands of other residents have signed a petition to protect this land from any development. Why, again, are Wren Academy withholding the status of the land when pushing for this particular site? Finally, I would like to mention that there are no unplaced secondary children right now. The Council's schools report shows a plan to accommodate projected future secondary need throughout the borough, which includes 3 approved free schools. Over to you, Wren Academy.
Campaign against domestic violence backed by Cabinet. Politicians are urging people to stand up to the cowardly and abhorrent crime of domestic violence, which affects thousands of people a year. Cabinet members at Enfield Council have signed up to the White Ribbon Pledge to oppose domestic violence against women and girls. The Council backed the campaign as part of the National White Ribbon Day and is urging residents to join. A banner backing the campaign is on display outside Enfield Civic Centre in Silver Street. Police in Enfield deal with an average of 20 calls about domestic violence a day. In the past 12 months in Enfield, there have been more than 2,900 domestic crimes and more than 200 rapes and 341 sexual offences, according to Solace Women's Aid. Sanjia Green, who is the manager for the charity, which provides accommodation for women at a secret location in the borough, said the number of cases in Enfield was rising. According to domestic violence charity Refuge, more than half of young women aged 18 to 21 have suffered at least one abusive incident in a relationship. Refuge estimates that at least 2 women a week die as a result of domestic abuse, and 1 in 4 women will experience domestic violence at some time in their lives. An estimated 1/5 of children in the UK have been exposed to it. The Metropolitan Police and charities which work with women experiencing domestic violence are also signatories to the White Ribbon Pledge. Crystal Fonyonga, Enfield's Cabinet Member for Community Safety and Public Health, said, "I was proud to sign up to the White Ribbon Pledge, which asks everyone to stand up to domestic violence. There is no place in a civilised society for a cowardly and abhorrent crime such as this, and we are determined to raise awareness of this issue and do everything in our power to bring the people responsible to justice." Ms. Fonyonga visited the Solace Refuge this summer to hear from young women who fled from abusive partners. She added, "We are hammering home the message that this type of crime is not acceptable, and we are asking residents to look out for the signs of abuse and give victims the information and support they need to escape an abusive relationship." Superintendent Jenny Barnett from Enfield Police said, "The message is clear. No form of domestic violence will be tolerated." Support is available on the National Domestic Violence Helpline on 0808 2000 247, Solace Women's Aid Advice Line on 0808 802 5565, and the North London Rape Crisis Centre on 020 76191369. Donations to Solace Women's Aid will be matched by the Pilgrim Trust during the Big Give event. Residents and businesses can back the White Ribbon Campaign on www.whiteribboncampaign.co.uk.
Lorry lessons on safety. Children were given a course in road safety when they were given an insight into the life of a lorry driver. Pupils from West Green Primary School in Woodlands Park Road and St John Viney School in Stanley Road, Tottenham, were visited by O'Donovan Waste Disposal as part of Road Safety Week. The pupils sat inside the cab to view the road from a lorry driver's perspective and learned about the need to watch out for cyclists.
Hospice singers battling for number one. A charity single recorded by hospice patients is aiming squarely at the number one spot in the charts this Christmas. North London Hospice is represented by 12 singers in a choir of 300 patients, families, staff and volunteers from 18 London hospices. They will take on this year's The X Factor winner for the Christmas number one with a cover of The Living Years, originally by soft rockers Mike and the Mechanics, recorded at Abbey Road Studios. The recording is led by Paul Carrack, lead vocalist on the original 1991 version of the hit, while Hollywood director Annabelle Jankel directed the video. Paul said, "The Living Years has been an important song for me for many years, but this is the version that means the most. Recording it with this incredibly special group of people for such a worthwhile cause has created some kind of magic. I hope that everyone gets behind it this Christmas."
Football now, and resilient Town clinch points with late goal against Angels. Enfield Town earned a hard-earned point against Tonbridge Angels in the Ryman Isthmian League Premier Division after falling a goal behind in the first half. Angels had the upper hand from the outset. It wasn't long before the visitors took the lead. A raid down Town's right-hand side produced a deep centre from Wheeler, and this time Luke Bluden had time to control and slam the ball home at the back post. The Angels could have doubled their tally on the half-hour mark, but Nathan MacDonald dived low to make a save. Enfield's Billy Cook almost scored an equaliser in the 34th minute, but the ball flew wide of the post. Town came out early for the second half and soon set about getting back on terms with a much more cohesive spell. 4 minutes into the final 45, John Maliba's shot was comfortably saved by Anthony De Bernardo, and Tyler Campbell fired narrowly off target as Town upped the intensity. The Towners may have been forgiven for thinking it wasn't to be their day, when sub Dernal Winter burst through and rolled a shot agonisingly against an upright with 15 minutes left. Scott Shulton looked to follow up to try and open Enfield's account from the rebound, but was unable to convert the chance. But they eventually got their break when the game entered its closing stages, with Tonbridge's defending became more and more frantic as the game went on. At the death, due to added on time, skipper Mark Kirby came to the home side's rescue when he pushed forward in the last few minutes and managed to force the ball over the line from a corner. Tonbridge's Jack Parter attempted to clear the ball, but Kirby's goal was enough to rescue a point for the hosts. Enfield Town then faced Staines Town at the Queen Elizabeth Stadium with a 7:45 kick-off in a league match. Staines sat 6th in the table, only a point above Enfield, who were 9th, as the Towners looked to push into the playoff spots. Town have 2 games in hand over their opponents as they look to gain promotion.
Parade lights up the town. Hundreds of people dressed up and marched through the streets of Enfield to mark the annual Parade of Light. Scores more turned out to watch and cheer on the volunteers, community groups and fundraisers who had designed floats and even a fleet of scooters in their chosen theme. One of the organisers, Cathy Wortherall, said it had been another wonderful event and praised everyone who had made such a big effort. She says, I always say it's not just me who does this, it's everyone, all the volunteers who give their time and effort to make this happen. It's about having fun and raising money for local charities along the way. As well as the parade, we had music, stalls in the market square, the switch on of the Christmas tree and fireworks. It was wonderful. But the parade, now in its 6th year, did not go completely without a hitch. A serious road accident that happened just after 10 a.m. that morning meant that the parade route had to be changed at the 11th hour.
Churches join forces in bid to help refugees. Churches in Enfield Lock are holding a joint carol service to raise funds to welcome Syrian refugees to the borough. The service will bring together parishioners from 5 churches around Ordnance Road to raise money for the work of the Enfield Refugee Welcome Group. The group is about to submit an application to the Home Office which could make Enfield one of the first boroughs to sponsor a family fleeing the war in Syria. The Enfield Refugee Welcome Group of 40 volunteers has a fundraising target of £20,000 to sponsor a refugee family and has the backing of 14 churches in Enfield and Palmer's Green Mosque. It has found private accommodation to house refugees and is looking for more people to help as befrienders to support them find their feet when they arrive in the UK. The leaders of the 5 EN3 churches said, in an age where nations across the world appear to be putting up barriers to deny our common humanity, connectedness and dependence upon each other, London remains a beacon of cross-cultural friendship and creativity. Together this Christmas, the EN3 churches stand in support of those affected by the Syrian crisis. The chairwoman of the Enfield Refugee Welcome Group, Alison Phillips, said, all of a sudden their lives have been turned upside down. Mrs. Phillips said that the group had come together to help people caught up in conflict. I think it's a story of our time, she added. It's a test of our time. It makes you feel less despairing if you can help someone in this situation. The carol service is scheduled to start at 4:30 p.m. on Sunday, December the 11th, at St George's Church in Hertford Road. Visitors will be welcome and will be able to join in a one-off choir rehearsal at 3 p.m.
Here's a letter from Emily Sivia, the assistant producer of Testimony Films, and it's regarding Raleigh Bike Memories. Award-winning documentary company Testimony Films are making a new documentary for BBC 4 celebrating the history of the Raleigh Bicycle Company and the bicycles that revolutionised cycling in Britain. We are looking for interesting stories throughout the decades from the people who enjoyed Raleigh bikes. We would love to hear from the oldest people in Britain who have had or still own a Raleigh bike. Were you born in the interwar period and can talk about cycling in the 1920s and 30s? Do you have fond memories of a Raleigh bike and the freedom it offered you, or tales of adventures on 2 wheels? Or were you inspired by the sporting greats that rode Raleigh bikes? If cycling has had or still has an impact on your life or that of someone you know, we would love to talk to you about your story. If you would like to share your memories with us, please get in touch with Emily Sivia, that's spelled S-I-V-Y-E-R. Her telephone number is 0117 925 8589. Her email address is emily.sivia@testimonyfilms.com, and their address, if you want to write, is 12 Great George Street, Bristol, BS1 5RH. I'll give you that again, 12 Great George Street, Bristol, BS1 5RH.
Parliamentary hopeful has a recipe for success. A candidate in last year's general election has published a cookbook of her family recipes. Gonelle Daniels put together the recipe book over the past year. She said that the Turkish home cooking at its best, was a labour of love in which she wanted to celebrate the culinary skills of her mother. Mrs. Daniels was a Conservative candidate for Edmonton in last year's election and has worked at the Bank of England and the Houses of Parliament. The senior systems engineer develops IT networks and is also involved with Ashmole Academy in Southgate. She remains on the candidates list and is hoping to contest a seat in the next general election. A keen cook herself, she asked her 80-year-old mother to share recipes she brought from home in northern Cyprus when she moved to the UK in the 1960s. "My mum's a fantastic cook," she said. "We all love eating and Mum loves cooking. She cooked a meal for us every day when we were growing up." Mrs. Daniels said it took her about a year to put together, and she cooked up the recipes in the kitchen at her home in Palmer's Green. "I love doing it," she added. "It's a project of love." Most dishes in the book are home cooking, she said. Some are things you could not have out in a restaurant. Many of the recipes are vegetable-based, and some of them are a bit anglicised, using ingredients available in the UK when it was harder to find Turkish food. Mrs. Daniels said that one of the key ingredients in Turkish cooking was a good quality olive oil. "We use that every day," she said. "My brother used to joke that every Turkish household has chicken stock cubes and tins of tomatoes. My mother used to skin the tomatoes, but now we have tins. She always got flat leaf parsley in the fridge as well." The Turkish Kitchen is published by Harpy Publishing, priced $14.99.
This is a letter from Charlotte Dawson, head nurse for Beating Bowel Cancer. Ditch the razor. We're calling on your readers to join our hairy band of brothers taking on bowel cancer beard by beard. Beating Bowel Cancer's Decembeard campaign asks men to grow or decorate their beard to raise funds and help us support bowel cancer patients and to raise awareness of the disease, its symptoms, and the need for early diagnosis. Please sign up today at decembeard.org or check it out at Twitter at decembeard_UK and prepare to ditch your razor over the festive season.
Cancer Charity is looking for a marathon fundraiser. A charity based in Enfield is offering to help a runner realise the dreams of running in the London Marathon while raising money for people with cancer. Nightingale Cancer Support, which supports people affected by cancer and their families, has won a place in the Small Charities Ballot and is looking for a fundraiser to take on the 26.2 mile challenge. After 10 years of trying, it has finally won the special charity place to give one individual a chance to join the thousands of other fun runners and serious athletes in next year's London Marathon on Sunday, April the 23rd. The Lancaster Road-based charity has to raise more than £300,000 to support its work each year and hopes the successful applicant will raise a minimum of £2,500 through special events and sponsorship. Nightingale's fundraising manager, Lisa Barker, says applicants need to put their best foot forward and contact the charity soon to be in with a chance of getting one of the much coveted marathon places. This year, 39,140 runners raised £59 million in one of the biggest annual charity fundraisers in London. The event also clocked up the millionth runner since it started in 1981. And Nightingale Cancer Support is hoping a runner will enjoy the excitement of training to participate in the marathon. Supporter Alex Dutton raised more than £3,000 for the charity last year when he completed the London Marathon course in 5 hours and 30 minutes. Ms Barker said, "We work alongside the clinical services of the NHS to assist people to live with and beyond the disease. So often it's not just the patient who suffers from a cancer diagnosis, it's their family, friends and even their work colleagues. We support them all and give our services free of charge. We offer our clients not just advice and information, but more importantly, the ongoing emotional and practical support crucial in helping them face their changed lives. We don't just offer tea and sympathy. We offer a tailor-made, diverse range of activities in a safe place, which provides tangible benefits to the well-being of our clients. These range from complementary therapies to educational workshops, all delivered by trained professionals. Would-be marathon runners should contact the fundraising team on 020 8366 9674 to be in with a chance of a place in the London Marathon. We've reached the end of our programme for this week. Thank you for listening. So from the team of Janet, Sally and Keith and Robin on the controls, it's goodbye.
Bye.
Please remember to turn over the address label in your postal packet, put the memory stick into the packet and return it to us as soon as possible in readiness for the next edition. Don't forget you can call Diane de Jersey regarding any help you may require in connection with Enfield Talking Newspaper on 020 8805 6578. Coming up next, the latest news and information for the Greater London area from InfoSound. The Enfield Talking Newspaper will be with you again in 1 week's time.